Welcome to the final episode of the challenge. In case you don't know what's going on, I highly suggest to check out the previous episodes. In short, I'm trying to beat Pokémon Emerald using only Surskit in battle. To make this actually challenging, I'm not allowed to use items in battle, and I cannot overlevel. On the other hand, I can benefit from every other mechanic, such as trade or breeding. Also, I can only use one Surskit per battle, but I can choose to use a different Surskit depending on the fight. At this point it's been a month since I started this challenge, and I have finally reached the Pokémon League. The 5 battles ahead require a lot of planning and preparation, and I spent literal days to set everything up. What I did can be summarized in 4 major steps. I need to obtain 2 specific items to make things work. One is Silver Powder, an held item that boosts Bug-type moves by 10%. It can be obtained from the Super Nerd in Route 120. From the 4th rematch onwards, his Masquerain holds a Silver Powder, so I just go in with Hope and steal it with Thief. That was easy. But the second and last item I need is Leftovers. I already said this in a previous episode, but in case you don't know, Leftovers can only be obtained via pickup at level 81 or higher. On top of that, it's only a 1% chance. This time I absolutely need it, so here's what I did. First, I caught 5 Linoons, all at level 25. I cannot grind them directly since I'm only allowed to use Surskit in battle. So the most optimal way to get one to level 81 is to find rare candies. From level 41 onwards the chance of finding rare candies is 10%, so I train each one of them up to that level using an EXP share. After that, I started using on one all the rare candies I could find, until I got it to level 81. But even then it took a really long time to actually find Leftovers, so much that I managed to get another Linoon to level 81. In the end I got what I needed, but to give you an idea, you can see in my bag all the items I found in the meanwhile. As always, every major fight needs a Surskit with a specific nature and IV. To do that, I need to go to the daycare and breed Surskit, until I find the ones I need. Notice that breeding doesn't give completely random results. The nature has a 50% chance to be passed on by the mother if she's holding an Everstone, and the IV, to a certain extent, are inherited by both parents. This part is also kinda tedious. But then I have the team that, if everything goes according to plan, will beat the league. Now I need to train them. Not a single major fight in this challenge would have been possible without proper EV training, and this is no exception. There's nothing interesting about this, since it's basically grinding, except this little thing that occurred. I never got to see it in one of my games, so I was really surprised. Apparently, Pokerus is way more rare than finding a shiny Pokemon. That also happened during the series, but this thing is actually beneficial. An infected Pokemon gains double the amount of EV and can spread the virus to the rest of the party. So I'm really happy I found this at the start of my final EV train session. Once I've done that, I also make sure to level up every Surskit to match the ace of each member of the league. Now that every Surskit has the right level and the right stats, I just need to have the right moves. The TMs are not infinite in Generation 3, but the moves can be inherited while breeding. Sadly, this doesn't apply to tutor moves, so I had to trade some of my spiders back and forth in order to teach them Substitute. Substitute can only be taught by a lady in the last floor of Lilikov's department store, and it's going to be really important for the upcoming fights. With that done, the team is officially ready. First is Sydney, and he's a Dark-type specialist. He leads with a Myghyena, so Firefly's attack is immediately down by 1 stage. I know that the AI here loves to use Sand Attack, so on the first turn I set up a substitute to avoid the accuracy drop. The AI doesn't know how to deal with a substitute, so it will keep using moves like Sand Attack without realizing that I'm immune. On the second turn I use Haze to get rid of the attack debuff, as Myghyena wastes another Sand Attack. Despite being a bug type, Surskit doesn't learn any bug type moves. But Firefly has a bug type hidden power. It's important to notice that it benefits from stab, and gets the 10% boost from the silver powder equipped. Mighty Yena goes down in 2 hits while spamming sand attacks, and then Absol comes out. One hidden power brings it to yellow health, and then it manages to hit me with Rock Slide and break my substitute. I won't need it for the rest of the fight, so that's not a problem. The Citrus Berry restores some of its HP, but it's not enough to resist a second hidden power from Firefly. The rest of Sydney's team doesn't pose much of a threat. Shiftry and Cacturn are both 4-time weak to bug, so I easily one-shot them, and last is Crawdont. It can't kill me in 1 hit, and 2 hidden power take him down, winning me the first fight. At the end of the battle, I let Firefly evolve. I won't need him anymore, and he earned the right to be slightly less useless. Next are Phoebe and her ghost-type Pokémons. Her team is pretty scary. Dusclops is really tanky, and she has 2 of them, not to mention that if I get cursed the fight is over. She starts with one of the Dusclops, and I set up a substitute right away to avoid getting cursed. The only damaging move of this Dusclops is Shadow Punch, but, as you can see, Exorcist has extraordinary physical defense. Unless it crits me, it won't be able to break my substitute in 1 turn, and meanwhile I can recover thanks to leftovers. Then I set up 1 agility while easily tanking and hit. After that, I use Shadow Ball to lower his HP. You can see that, even if super effective, the damage is pitiful. In that turn, it decides to go for Curse. It fails due to my substitute, but I was just waiting for this to happen. I immediately use Mimic to copy its last move. Curse, if you are not a ghost type, rises both attack and defense by 1 stage, while also dropping your speed. So I use Curse 5 times, and meanwhile I make sure to always have a substitute up. Then I easily set up 4 agility to compensate the speed drops. At this point Shadow Ball deals much more damage and Dusclops goes down in just 1 more hit. Second is Banette, but I outspeed in 1 shot. Then the second Dusclops comes out. Even with my +5 attack, I'm not even close to one-shotting it. It's able to attack and break the substitute, but at this point it doesn't matter, and another Shadow Ball takes him down. The second Banette ends up like the first one, and last is Sableye. It takes neutral damage from Shadow Ball, so it's not a one-shot. It sets up a single double team and then starts spamming Nightshade. I actually missed 2 Shadow Ball in a row, but then I finally hit, and win the battle on my first try. This was my second favorite strategy, and Exorcist, for its great execution, deserves to evolve. Third is Glacia, and this one is my favorite. The problem with Glacia is that her Pokemon are all pretty tanky, and I don't have a super effective move to use against Glaily, so there is no way to brute force the fight with things like Solar Beam. She leads with a level 50 Celio. The first turn it always sets up Hail, so I take advantage of it and use Toxic. Now it will always use Body Slam, so I use Protect. You can see that I have leftovers equipped. It's really important because it evens out the hail damage. Then I set up 1 agility, as Celio lands a strong critical hit with Body Slam. If it paralyzes me I have to reset, but thankfully it doesn't. I stall another turn with Protect, and then I use Giga Drain. Notice that I used a PP max, so I have 8 of them. Anyway, Radiator has enough special attack to guarantee a kill, and I recover plenty of HP. Second is Glaily. It has both Ice Beam and Crunch, but as long as I'm faster, it tends to use the weaker Icy Wind to slow me down. I poison it on the first turn, and it decides to set up a light screen. It's not ideal, but it's not too bad either. I use Protect to stall and recover some HP with leftovers. Then I use Agility as it keeps trying to lower my speed. This way it's almost locked into using Icy Wind. I stall another turn with Protect, and then I use 1 Giga Drain. If it wasn't for the light screen, the poison damage would have been enough to take it down. But here she's able to use a full restore, and I have to do the exact same thing again. No light screen this time, so it goes pretty smoothly. Now the level 52 Celio comes out. It always uses hail on the first turn, so, much like I did with the first one, I take advantage of it, and use Toxic. Second turn I start attacking with Giga Drain as it retaliates with a strong Blizzard. Double Edge would have been better, but thankfully I don't get frozen, and I'm able to finish him off with another Giga Drain. Thanks to Celio's huge HP pool, I'm almost back to full health. The second Glaily is next, and it can be really problematic. I need to poison it, so I must tank one hit on the first turn. It deals a ton of damage with Shadow Ball, but as long as it doesn't drop my special defense it's fine. I stall the next turn with Protect as the hail stops. Now it will always use hail, so I use the opportunity to land a weak Giga Drain. Now, after the poison damage, it has less than half HP left. Because of that, and because it doesn't see a kill with any other move, it will use Explosion most of the time. So I use Protect as it blows up. I have plenty of HP left, but it's not over yet. Walrein is last, and it can still freeze me with Ice Beam. I use Toxic right away as it goes for Surf. Even if it's not very effective, it deals a lot of damage. Second turn I use Giga Drain to chip his health and recover some HP, but I have to tank a strong Ice Beam. Luckily I don't get frozen, and now it's pretty much over. The next turn I stall with Protect as its berry gets triggered. Now my last Giga Drain combined with the poison damage is enough to kill. So Walrein finally goes down. This fight was really slow, but I really enjoyed planning for it. Radiator has earned the right to evolve. Now that he has beaten the best ice trainer in the region, he might as well become weak to it. The last member of the Elite Four is Drake. And it's easy. 3 of his Pokémon are double weak to ice, and the only real problem is Kingdra. Also, it starts with Shelgon, which almost always goes for Protect, so I have a free turn to set up. I decide to use the occasion to boost my speed with Agility. Now that I outspeed everyone in Drake's team, I one-shot everything until Kingdra comes out. It has Dragon Dance as a setup move, and its Body Slam can get really dangerous. Bilbo has just enough speed to be faster even after 2 Dragon Dances, and thanks to my Never Melt Ice I can kill with 2 Ice Beam and 1 Blizzard without putting it in full restore range. Even if I miss Blizzard, Body Slam can only kill me with the highest roll or a crit. So most of the times I would get another chance to hit. I don't miss, and then the fight is over since Flygon cannot resist a single Ice Beam. Bilbo had the easiest job among the members of the team, but its evolution is still well deserved. But now it's time for the last fight of the run. In Emerald the champion is Wallace, and he has a full team of strong water types. Given that I resist water, I should have been able to come up with a good strategy without too much trouble, but no. There's no elegant way of winning this fight, or at least none I could think of. Every strategy gets crushed by his Tentacruel. It always comes out after Whale Lord, and it has a special defense stat of 169. It knows Sludge Bomb and Hydro Pump, both of them deal a huge amount of damage, and I can't really play around that because the former is physical, and the latter is special. It's really sad to drop the challenge at the very end of it, so I decided to use the shameful tactic a second time. Double Team is pretty much the only way to make this possible, and if anyone comes up with a better idea, I would love to know it. But even using the D move, I had to find a way to beat Wallace's team. In the end, an old friend came to the rescue. Birdkeeper with his great stats and his electric hidden power was the perfect spider for the job. Of course, I had to redistribute his EV by using some berries, but then, given the correct moveset, he was ready for the final fight. First is Whale Lord, and it tends to use Rain Dance either in the first or second turn. I immediately set up a first double team as it hits me with a strong double edge. Thanks to leftovers, I can tank 2 double edge, so it's still fine. Second turn I use Toxic expecting a Rain Dance, but it misses a Water Spout instead. Then I set up a second double team, but I get hit by another double edge. I'm too low to make a substitute, so I go for a third double team. Thankfully the AI sees a kill with Blizzard and goes for it. It's already an inaccurate move, so it misses. Now I can set up a substitute as it misses double edge. Meanwhile, the poison did its job and Wallace is forced to use a full restore while I go for another double team. At this point I'm pretty much set up, so I poison Wailord again, and I start using hidden power. I just have to make sure to always have a substitute active. After 2 hits, Wailord finally goes down without causing any real problem. Then the Tentacruel comes out. I need 5 hits to take it down, but I'm faster in case it breaks my substitute. I'm really low so it doesn't try to poison me, but even then, thanks to my high evasion, it misses 3 sludge bombs in a row. It only hits me on the last turn available, so I just finish it with a final hidden power. Milotic is next, and it's actually really good for me. It doesn't have a good move against me aside from Toxic, so I use Substitute right away. This fight is really long, but I don't want to rush it. The safest play is to take advantage of the situation and slowly get back to full health with leftovers. It took about 5 minutes because Milotic just loves using Recover, but at least the final result is optimal. Next is Ledicolo, and it also uses the D move. It has Leech Seed, so it's really important for me to always stay behind my substitute. All I need is to hit 1 Toxic, and then I'm pretty much safe. It also took a while to go down, but was for sure less painful than the previous one. I don't know if you noticed, but I used all the PP up I had to make sure to not run out of moves. Anyway, Whiscash comes out and I have to entirely rely on Toxic since it's part ground type, and my hidden power doesn't affect it. So it's another long stall. Wallace has 4 full restore in total, and that makes this fight even longer. But eventually, Whiscash goes down too. Last is Gyarados. At least, at the very end, I get to not use a Toxic stall. 2 hidden power are more than enough to take it down and win the last fight of the run. Bird Keeper, the one who swept the flying gym, can now become a flying type himself. So this is the end of the run. I surely enjoyed playing it, but for the future I will make several changes. First of all, I'll buy a good microphone so that I can get rid of this stupid voice. I have more in mind, but for now, back to theory crafting.